We've seen in the last 20 minutes Jordan Parler was sentenced to 20 months in prison for what he wrote on Facebook, and Daniel Maguire was handed 2 years and 2 months in prison after spitting at police in Plymouth. I'm struggling with this as a woman on the grounds that sort of like sexual assault and rape in London, certainly under the Met Police, barely even, get prosecuted. I mean, no one really bothers, do they? So I'm curious as to find out what's going on with this sentencing. So joining me now is a criminal defence lawyer, Paul Britton. Paul, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Now, the obvious question that I want to ask is how comes... the justice system has been on its knees for a long time. Things take years to go through the courts. In particular, as a woman, I'm concerned about sex crime. Suddenly, overnight, we not only have prison cells, but we have judges sitting and people are guilty and in jail straight away. How is this happening?
I mean, it's not suddenly. It's right that these people are brought to justice, and the ones that we've seen coming before the courts have actually been in the system for a little bit longer than you'd ordinarily think. The public are watching. There is a doctrine in law that justice doesn't just have to be done, but it has to be seen to be done. And the government and the judiciary are under a lot of pressure to be reacting quickly to this, and that's why we are seeing that already in the news headlines. And I know you mentioned a few cases there where people have been sentenced, and I think you mentioned one was 20 months, and I don't know the details of that in particular, but when we sentence someone to fewer than 2 years, they can have what we call a suspended sentence, which means they don't go into jail, but if they reoffend in that period of time, they do go straight in. So we're probably not seeing those people taking up a prison cell. When it's over the 2 years, that's probably done deliberately because that individual has done something that warrants them going to jail, and the judiciary, or the judge in particular in any particular case, will want to see that person in jail for a set period of time. Of course, they can apply for parole once they're in, which might see them get out early. But these people aren't being convicted of under the Public Order Act of '86, and Section 1 is quite helpful for rioting, and we are talking about rioting. And rioting is when 12 or more people come together for a common objective, whether that be political or to cause trouble, and cause an ordinary person of what we call reasonable firmness to feel alarm or harm and distress. If they're found guilty of that sort of offence, they're looking to up to 10 years, depending on many factors.
Paul, I know you said that, it's not happening as quickly as I think, but the riots haven't been going on for that long, and already we are seeing people going through the court straight away. I know you've tried to explain it, I still can't get my head around how it can happen so quickly when there's a will to do so.
But one of the points you were saying is that there's not prison cells available or prison places. But, in many cases, they are going to be sentenced to fewer than the 2 years. Is it happening quickly? People that are arrested for serious crimes that are affecting public order, and all of us as a majority, I mean, it's everywhere. It's from the south right up to the north. It's from the east to the west. They need to be dealt with in an expeditious way so that we are sending a clear message, because it's also prevention. Now, a murderer will be brought before the court quite quickly, and they'll enter a plea. And if they say they're not guilty, then they'll have to determine whether they go out on bail or they're held in remand. That's because it's a serious crime. Put together, what is happening in our country right now is an incredibly serious crime, and the public at large are at risk.
OK, unfortunately, we're running out of time there. That's criminal defence lawyer Paul Britton. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you. Right, well, let me know what you think about that, because I'm still not entirely convinced that it's, they can do it when they want to, can't they? So why don't they do it all the time?